We be live!
Serving Shaitan with a smile. See? Look at that. Look at that smile.
Oh, yeah. Great. This is getting better every time. Oh, assalamu alaikum. No, that's the end. That's
At
how
the
we
end. I don't want to spoil it. But yes, we're ready for this. Smile to Jenna. We're ready for this. This is going to be great. He always brings the most, the best knowledge or I can't even make up stuff anymore.
I can't find a better channel for us to review. Like seriously, like I'm looking at Ali Dava videos. I'm like, I'm looking at Muhammad Hijab. I'm like, I go to Daniel Hayraju and like go then Smile to Jenna's channel. Like, yeah, there's so much here that we can review.
It's the perfect mix of bad arguments and entertaining videos. It's like it's just enough good quality production, I think, that keeps us entertained, but the arguments are just consistently garbage, which is why it's really good to review his stuff, because we always have good stuff to talk about. So
Oh, also Susanna is saying congrats to India for the moon landing. I was talking about this. I was rooting, but India was competing with Russia, and I was rooting for India. I'm glad that India won this battle.
They won.
Yeah,
they won. They made it, and on the South Pole, right? On like the South Pole of the moon or something.
Yes,
it was a big deal.
Ice. Yeah.
Go India.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. So, guys, we have another video from Smile to Jenna to review today. There we go. And it's titled Shocking Study on Housewives versus Career Women. Wow. So I stole his title because I see I assume that his titles work. So I just changed his title a little bit. Like, why change something that is working, right? Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like, yeah. So I titled our stream "Shocking Study Compares Housewives versus Career Women."
I'm ready to be shocked. I am. I think this study is going to completely, change the fabric of what I think about the world. I don't know, but I'm ready for it. Is what it is. Right. So, let's see.
Okay. Do you think you will find anything? Are you actually genuinely going to think you're going to find anything that is surprising here?
No, I don't know. I kind of feel like the study's not going to be super robust to begin with. I just feel like it's probably going to be a bit of a letdown, but that's where his videos.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's see.
Research reveals traditional.
Oh, I watched these on double speed, so I need to change it to normal speed. There we go.
Let me read the heading to you. Research reveals traditional housewives experience greater happiness than modern career women.
Wait. Like, there's a hijabi woman down there, and they blurred that?
Mm-hmm.
They blurred the hijabi woman at the bottom?
Like, that's what it looks
then why
like.
do you put it there? Then just don't put it there.
Yeah.
Like, why would you put... Oh, my God. I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah.
They had... But Smile to Jenna doesn't blur hijabi woman.
Never. No, he does a bad job of it. Yeah, we've called him out for it before. Yeah.
Why is he like blurring it now? I don't. Maybe he got this from somewhere else. Okay.
This was in NBER, and this was a study that was done from 1970 to 2005. Yeah. And if we take this further in My Celebrity fashion, they said that 78% of British women said they don't mind being financially dependent.
78% said they wouldn't mind being financially dependent.
Okay. That 78% of British women said they don't mind being financially dependent on their partner. And if we couple this further, there are other studies as well. Here you can see one study that says and shows how Western women have been unhappy. They're more unhappy. And here's another study to suggest how much they're more.
We have to read actually what it says. Sometimes in this report, women who are primary homemakers reflect their satisfaction with their home to life to a greater extent than women who are both in labor force and have a family.
Boom.
Okay.
There we go. That makes sense. Hey, Armin, I got a question for you. If you live in a society where you are expected to do all of the housework, despite the
Right.
fact that you've been at a job all day, would you say,
Right.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. Continue.
Oh,
Oh,
just would you say that probably doing both the job all day and the housework at
yeah.
home would probably make you a little bit less satisfied than just doing one
Yeah,
thing?
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't think
that's easy.
this is not a woman thing. Like, if I had
Right.
to do more work, I would
Right.
be less happy. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Okay.
This is
But
currently,
no, go ahead.
I was just saying, currently, this just seems to indicate the thing we already kind of knew, which is like, yeah, if you're required to do a bunch of extra work and you're not really getting help from your partner, like, yeah, of course you're going to be less
Right.
satisfied. That's obvious.
Yeah, I think it was important that we paused and read it, because what he says is not what we're reading. Like, so we
Mhm.
can't rely on him. Like, look at what we just read, and look at what he said.
Don't mind being financially
pause on that.
dependent on their partner.
We were okay. That one was accurate, but
And if we couple this further, there are other studies as well. Here you can see one study that says and shows how Western women have been unhappy. They're more unhappy.
that's not what it said. That's
Right.
not, that's what you
Right.
showed us was not what it said. Okay, I'm
Right.
glad that we read what we actually said. Like, I'm glad that he shows it, and then I think he relies on his audience not actually reading what he puts on the
Yeah.
screen. Okay.
And here's another study to suggest how much antidepressants have increased.
Wait, what? Well-being among women scientists have also been attempting
Okay.
to grapple with why so many women in middle age are on antidepressants. In this study, it was found that a staggering 1 in 5 women aged between 40 and 59 overuse antidepressants. Okay, so here what he actually said and what we showed on the screen at least was the same thing.
Well,
So,
hang
okay,
on. Well, hang on. Not on this one. Not on this one. There's an important word here. There's an important phrase in that he's highlighted. That makes what he's saying and this not the same. Okay. So what he originally talked about was just how many people are using antidepressants. That is not what this study is about, according to this snippet that he has. This is about individuals who have overused antidepressants, which is a
Oh,
completely different medical thing, which means that of those 1 in 5 individuals, they are all most likely already on antidepressants. Okay. So
oh,
does that make sense? So it says, but women aged between 40 and 59
Mhm.
who overused antidepressants in the US from 2015 to 2018. The first thing, though, that first sentence, scientists have also been attempting to grapple with why so many women in middle age are on antidepressants, is a completely separate thing. Not disagreeing with that, not saying that that hasn't gone up, just saying from what he's showing here and highlighting, different.
He's not showing the connection. He's like, there's
Mhm.
some one topic and a different topic. He thinks that just by mentioning them one after the other, he's proving a connection, but he hasn't shown the connection. Just mentioning two things that are happening does not by itself prove a connection. But let's see where he takes this.
Suggest how much antidepressants have increased. So the question that they get asked is, do women have more rights now than they did back in the days? The answer is yes. So surely they should be more happy. That's because, look, rights are one thing. Yeah.
Okay, before we get to rights, we have to first address the things that we discussed, because this has a thing to do with rights. Okay. So the study that he's talking about, like, is saying, if you look at the news article that he's like talking about, right? So 78% of women, for example, prefer, like, let's go to this more percentages down here, right? More percentages down here. But what he mentioned at first was that 78% of women prefer to be dependent on a husband, right? I mean, to be fair, I also prefer being dependent on somebody and
Yeah.
not having to. Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
like, of course.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't
natural.
if the question is, hey, let's just say hypothetically there's this magic person who like checks all your boxes on personality and living with, and also has a bunch of money. Like, I don't know why anybody is like not
Yeah.
taking that deal. In fact, I'm more curious about the 21% of women who were like, no, I still wouldn't take that deal. I'd love to know what the numbers are for men.
mean,
Like,
I could understand the 21% because it's like it's kind of being dependent on somebody else. It's kind of scary. What if that
sure.
person dies? What if that person leaves?
Oh yeah, there's lots of there's
Like,
lots of problems, but if I'm assuming that what they're saying when they ask that question, which I don't know because I haven't read the study, but I'm assuming that the question is framed in a way that's like, hey, if you found like the perfect partner and being with them just meant you had to be financially dependent on them, right? Like I don't think you see what I'm saying? Like they're probably not factoring in all of these other obvious things that could happen. Somebody could just die, or
Amen.
but
Yeah, somebody like, would you? Here's another question for any of you guys. Would you like somebody paying your bills? I mean, of course. I mean, I don't have to. I don't think you need to be a man or a woman to be like, sure. Like I would like. I personally would like that. So I don't know why. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
But also it says it specifically says 78% said they wouldn't mind. Not that they desired being in that situation. But yeah, Susanna already got it. Yeah, the better comparison would be exclusively career to housewife, not one versus both, because it's not a fair comparison in that scenario. But yeah, I mean, like 62% admitted they secretly wish to be a housewife. What does that exactly mean? What does that exactly mean? And again, what if you asked a bunch of men? Because that question sounds really similar to the financially dependent one, right? So it's kind of like,
I kind of think that I would have guessed that, right? Like, let's just accept, for the sake of argument, that most women who have a career and are not housewives would prefer to actually be housewives instead of having a career. Okay.
Sure.
And here it says like 62%. Let's assume that it's 95% even.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's say 95% of women who are not housewives and have a career would prefer actually not having a career. I'm just for the sake of argument, right?
Right. Totally hypothetical here.
Be housewives instead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that would mean if it's 95%? That means there are 5% of women out there that prefer having a career over being housewives.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that means they exist women who that would be a better option. Here's what conservative Muslims and Christians do. They go and like, hey, most women would prefer a traditional role. Like that actually proves our point, because most does not mean all. So given that it's most and not all, that means gender roles are insane. Even if it's only 5%, that means gender roles are harmful, because you're pushing on that 5% something that does not make them happy, because it makes most people happy. And that's the point of liberalism, because we look after the minority. Liberalism is to take care of minority. And that is why people are like, oh, conservatives, how could you be for gender? How could you be against gender roles? Don't you see that the majority of people prefer these roles, like are happy with these roles? That's our point. Why are you pushing something that the majority want on everybody? Even the study is saying 62%. Right?
Right. That's a lot of people.
That leaves 38% out.
Right.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, look at 74%, 78%. These are not even close to the 90s. So these studies proves our point. That means that a lot of people, there's a lot of women that are happy being career women. I mean, they think we're denying that there are not norms. There are not maybe a lot of women. So there are some progressive. Like, okay, let me acknowledge something that might be fair. Okay, it is true. It is true that there are some people, some progressives, who take it too far to the other side.
Oh,
There's,
yeah.
you know, that are like, they go. So we are against gender roles because we understand that people are individuals, and just because something works for a lot of people, just because something works for the majority, that doesn't mean it works for everybody. People are their individuals, and they have to figure out what specifically works for them, regardless of whether they're part of the majority or the minority, right? So we're like, gender roles makes no sense. Let people decide what they like. But in the name of fighting gender roles, there are some progressives that define new gender roles, right? So in the name of fighting tradition, they go and say, "Oh, you shouldn't be a housewife. You shouldn't be a girl that likes pink or plays with Barbies. You shouldn't want to take care of babies. You should have a career. You should focus on your career." Like, F off. They don't. If somebody actually wants to focus on being a housewife or being a mother, that is their goddamn decision. That's what works for them. They are also defining gender roles. They're like, woman, a real woman is a woman that is not submitting to a husband, is not focusing on housework or children. Like, no, both the conservatives and some of these progressives, both of you F off. You missed the entire point. You went too extreme on the other side. So if these, like, and here's the thing, these conservative Muslims and Christians, they point those extreme progressives as a way to make a point to say, like, oh no, you know what? See these, I don't know, extreme feminazis or whatever, they're telling you that you shouldn't be a housewife. So we are wrong. We were correct, and they're wrong, because look, so many women want to be housewives, and these like extreme feminists are denying them that. So that means that we are correct. No, you're not correct. You're both wrong. Both of you who are trying to push a certain lifestyle on people and not letting them just choose their own destiny, choose their own lifestyle, you're both wrong. That's the point of liberalism. It's liberal. It's being free to choose. That's where it's in the name. Right.
So let me, because I totally agree. I think phenomenal point. The whole point is that we protect the 5%. If the 95% says this is what we want, right? We have to protect those views of the 5%. Let me push a little bit, Armin. Let me ask you a question here. Let's say the study showed that 100%, every woman surveyed actually preferred being a housewife to having a career. Okay, let's hypothetical. Now let me ask you this: should we then, based on that study, restrict women from having a career? 100%, literally 100%, not even this paltry 78 garbage Smile to Jenna brought us. 100%, Armin. Should we then restrict and make it illegal for women to have a career? What are your thoughts on that?
I would say no, and that's such a good point. I'm glad that you brought that up, because just because I prefer something, maybe right now the situation is that I have to do something else.
Right.
You know, I prefer to be a millionaire. Okay. You know, like, okay, society, where are my millions of dollars? Right. Okay. So maybe somebody prefers being a housewife, but your family right now is in a situation that you need two incomes. So why would we restrict you from having a career, even if you do prefer to be a housewife and not a career? This is right now the solution to your lack of income from your family. So you might still decide to. We all have to sometimes make tough decisions and choose things that we don't prefer. Why would you tie their hands to come up with solutions to solve their problems at that moment?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I mean, if we're going with what we prefer, I think like we all prefer not to work at all. Like, I think that's
like, duh.
All prefer. Yeah. So here's the thing: I think if there was a survey that says, would you prefer having an income with no work? I think we will get close to 100% people are saying yes. What should we do now, Smile to Jenna? Should we just give people income without any work because that's what people prefer? Well, that's not how things work. Right now, families are struggling and they need two people that brings income to the family. That's just a reality of, and this is from the people that say, oh, these people do deny reality. Like, you're denying reality. Like, we cannot just have the things that we prefer all the time, unfortunately. That's not how anything works. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up.
What an awesome world where you don't have to worry about both parents, going out and, both guardians going out and working, 40 hours, 50 hours a week. That's awesome that you live in that space, man. But like, not everybody is. So yeah.
Right. And here's the thing. If a family is lucky enough to just require one person working and one person could focus on housework and taking care of the children and all that stuff, right? Sometimes for some families it will work out that the woman would be working and the husband is the work. Why not? Like, let's say both of you are working and you notice that the wife gets a huge promotion and she is bringing a lot more money than the man. And like, okay, we need somebody to take care of the kids and spend more time with the kids. How about you stop working and I'll do my job and you stay at home with the kids? Why not? Your gender roles limits people's options to do that. Right? And here's another thing. Your gender roles is going to force a lot of women to cook and clean and work while the husband only works and does not cook and clean. Right. So, and that goes against the very study that you're showing, because a lot of those women, they said like they prefer to be housewives only and not work and be housewives. Well, your gender roles is doing that, exactly that, to a lot of conservative families where the husband is only working and the woman is working plus doing other things at home.
Right, because they're not allowing for the nuances and the various different outcomes that could make a family successful. Right? They're saying there is one path that you get, and it is this: man goes out, works all day, brings home money. Woman stays home, cooks, cleans, takes care of kids. Anything else is a problem. When in reality, what the other side, our side, is trying to say is, hey, we recognize that the situation could be fluid and could require multiple different combinations, and that's a good thing. Again, at the end of the day, even if 100% of women surveyed said we prefer to be housewives instead of having a career, we should not pass laws to restrict people or perpetuate a culture that restricts them from doing this. It just makes it worse for them.
We are in favor of more options, more choices. Gender roles means limitations, means less options, means less options for you to come with your own individual solutions for the problems that you're dealing with. We want more flexibility. Gender roles reduces flexibility.
Yep, totally agree.
Agreed.
See?
People
Even
took
he
advantage.
agreed.
What?
Even he agreed. It's just when we started it.
They did back in the days. The answer is yes. So surely they should be more happy. That's because, look, rights are one thing.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah? Agree.
Real quick. This is just, that is the dumbest non sequitur I think I've ever heard. Women have more rights today, therefore they should be more happy. It's like, those two things have nothing to do with each other. The rights that you have and your mental well-being are not one-to-one equal. Yes, there is a correlation in the sense that when we see worldwide more individuals and more groups getting these basic human rights, people are able to express themselves more and live more freely and comfortably, and their happiness goes up. But simply because rights are granted to people does not in any way, shape, or form relate to happiness going up. It just that connection isn't there the way
Okay,
Right.
it's not 1-to-1, but I think there is a correlation. I think
Agreed.
there is not a 1-to-1 correlation, but there is a correlation, and I think people are happier, not just women. People in general are happier than before because of more rights and freedoms that they have. Yeah.
Yes, and yes, I agree that again, the trends that we see in the statistics will
Right.
definitely bolster that idea. We'll say that yes, as people get more rights, they are more happy, right? But what he's trying to do is make the opposite argument. And what I'm saying is that neither of those arguments actually work. Really, when you look at it, there is a break in the logic there. And truly, at the end of the day, there's more things that go on when
Right.
you get more rights, more things happen in society in a structural sense that allow for better happiness. Just because people have more rights now doesn't mean they're going to be happy. That's all. It's just because he's going to use that point to try to, I think, argue why women shouldn't have rights. I think that's what he's going to argue. So
We'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
Here's how I would phrase it. Okay, so he's like, I would agree. I would argue actually that more rights and more freedoms, okay, do actually make increased well-being in society. We have shown that historically we are living at the best of times, partly
agree.
because of all the rights and freedoms that we enjoy today, right? He probably argues is what he's arguing is like, oh look, sad people exist. Therefore, this failed. Your rights and freedoms, your rights failed to make people happy. But the claim that we're making is not that rights have eliminated sadness. Okay? That is not the claim. We're claiming that rights have reduced sadness. It has increased well-being. We did not claim that because more rights, we now live in a utopia where you cannot find sad people. There are sad people, and there's also new kinds of sad. But because of modernity and new conditions, there are new things that makes us sad that did not used to make us sad. But on a net basis, okay, even though you could point out like, oh my God, we didn't used to have this problem. Modernity brought us this problem. I'm sure you could find those examples. Every time society changed, we find new sources for happiness and we find new sources for sadness and misery. The net result, though, seems to be on the way up. We are living better lives. We're living better lives than kings and queens actually used to live only 200 years ago. That's a massive improvement. The middle class person in most countries is now living a much healthier, longer, richer life than kings used to live. I think that's a pretty fast advancement in a very short amount of time. I think that's good. That's good progress.
When you said modernity has brought us new problems, but we still are better off, honestly, the very first thought that came to my head was, yeah, I'll take a toilet that clogs every so often to just have a toilet, like just having a toilet in my house is worth knowing that eventually at some point in my life, my toilet is going to clog and overflow. And that sucks. It's a terrible problem. It ruins my whole day. But yeah. Going to the bathroom indoors is a big plus, I'll say. So.
Right. Wait, we got a super chat from Asian American, and I don't know how to read this, so I'm going to let you do it.
Yeah, in vitro gametogenesis and the rise of artificial wombs will give people even more choices, though should corporations be allowed to make kids? That's interesting. So the beginning of it is talking about in vitro fertilization and just focusing more on our understanding of gametes and epigenetics and stuff and getting that worked out to a level that we can actually just kind of make kids, but then the next one, and I agree, once we get to that space, then I think a lot of these problems disappear if we have artificial wombs, but should corporations be allowed to make kids? I would say I don't think so. But by the current standings in law around the world, they could some places because they're given speech rights similar to people in the US right now. So
You mean kids without parents coming to a corporation and asking for a kid? Because I think that should be allowed.
Like
Like
no, like I
oh,
guess
just
just like the corporation, like the board itself, just doing like artificial insemination of some kind, right? In an artificial womb.
I would say
Does
it
that make
should
sense?
be if they're making kids, it should be because a father and a mother came to the corporation and required ask for a kid. I think that's how it should be done. But I don't
Oh
know.
well,
We could,
that's I think that's I think that's just standard like fertility treatment right now. I think that's basically what happens when you go to the doctor.
yeah. So yeah, and if you're talking about that, I think that should be allowed. Okay, let's continue with this.
Agreed, people took advantage than they did back in the days? The answer is yes. So surely they should be more happy. That's because, look, rights are one thing. Yeah. Agreed, people took advantage. Yeah. People took advantage of men, of female, of, we can do all of that business. No problem. Yeah.
What?
But the point is that it is our creator that knows us better. That's the first and most.
Wait, what is the point that is being made here?
I know, that's what I'm saying. It just in like 30 seconds, he just completely shifted focus really quickly without explaining it, and it doesn't connect to me. It
Okay,
doesn't make sense.
Let's him go all the way to the final. Let's see what he's trying to say here. I'm trying to understand what the point is.
Yeah. Agreed, people took advantage. Yeah. People took advantage of men, of female, of, we can do all of that business. No problem. Yeah. But the point is that it is our creator that knows us better. That's the first and most important thing. You did not come from nothing. And if you acknowledge that there is a creator, that all of this did not just come about by chance, by itself from nothing, then you know that he did not leave us be. Yeah, he sent us an instruction manual, just like you buy a product. If you start poking around with the wrong buttons and you don't follow the instruction manual, you're going to destroy it. You're actually not going to make the most of it. It's the same with human beings. We think we know.
He's talking about gender roles, right? He's like, with all these rights and stuff, we think women should have a certain place in society and in the family, and they should basically, I don't know, go to the kitchen and make me sandwiches, and that comes with their manual. Like, women making me food, washing the dishes, taking care of the kids. That's just like when you buy a car and it comes with a manual. Woman, it also comes with a manual from God. And these rights that you guys are celebrating messes with that manual, and that's why women are unhappy. That's the argument that is being made here.
I really, really think Smile to Jenna should give you credit for being able to weave together an argument from that he just said, because honestly, Armin, that was just nonsense for like 30 full seconds from this dude. Like, let me tell you what I heard, okay? What I heard was somebody saying, "Hey, don't you think we should treat men and women equal?" And somebody responding with, "So if you look at the axiomatic, fundamental, principled understanding of, ultimate reality as it exists through the lens of the mind of the divine and the spiritual essence that makes us all up, then you can understand that, God really has us taken care of." And it's like, okay, did you hear what I said? Did you? All right. Yeah. No, that's great, man. Did you hear what I said? I'll repeat it, but like, yeah, I mean, I get it, what you pulled out of that, man. But like, my gosh, let's just all admit that you finding that argument was very much like a needle in a haystack. Like, oh my God.
I mean, I do listen to a lot of their arguments.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Gasian American clarified his question with another super chat saying corporations mass producing kids for investors. No, I do not think that should be allowed. I think that should be illegal. Actually,
see, that's what I think. That's what I thought he was talking about.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's continue with this journey.
We're ignoring the creator. But we should be acknowledging the creator, and he tells us there is a male, there is a female. The men are to be protectors. The women have strengths. Look, men and female.
Wait, the women have the men are to be protectors, the women to have strength. Actually, the verse that is what the if she has strength, why can't she be the protector?
I know, it's like it again, it just doesn't there it's not comparison. It's like it's like as if somebody came up to you and was like, haha, look at this, it's blue. And then somebody else goes, yeah, well, mine's an apple. And it's like, okay, but it doesn't. Again, we were talking about colors, you're talking about something else here. It just I'm very confused.
So he's referring to this Quranic verse where it says husbands should take care of their wives. So this is like their like the actual translation, actual Arabic says like it's their protector, the guardians, right? Right. So if this is what the verse you're talking about, this is also the verse that tells husbands to hit their wives.
Ooh.
So.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a bad, yeah. Oof.
That's the verse. That's a Quran. That's Quran chapter 4, verse.
Does it at least though? Just be clear. You know, being as charitable as possible to our boy Smile here. It must at least talk about how women have strengths in that verse, right? Because that's what he said. Men are protectors and women have strengths, and so I'm sure it mentions that.
So it says husbands should take good care of their wives with God, with what God has given them because with the bounties God has given to some more than others. So here it's justifying. So here is saying taking good care of, but the actual Arabic means is saying to be their protectors. Oh, see, actually, see, it's to be the protector, the guardians, right? And he says is because God has given men something above women, basically.
Oh,
so that's the reason, right?
Okay,
because God given certain bounties more than this is more than others. This means like men get something more than women. That's why they have the role of protectors. So, right? And with what they spend out of their own money. So he says so men should be in charge because men are the people who bringing the money. This is why they're in charge.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it says, righteous wives are devout and guard what God would have them guard in their husband's absence. So it's saying the role of women is to be righteous and basically guard the husband's stuff for the husband.
That's so weird. It never mentions the strengths of women like he said it did. Yeah, it doesn't seem to do that. Huh.
This translation is kind of weird because it's kind of trying to whitewash the actual what is actually being said here. I don't know if I could find Pictal or something like that here. Where's the English? Okay. Wait, they don't have Pictal here? What? Amazing. Okay, so they don't have actually a good translation, but let me see if this men are protectors because Allah has given one more than the other. He says strength, yeah, and but because they support from their yeah. Oh, here, this is actually the translation. Okay. Yeah, this is a better translation because I was thinking like this translation is whitewashing the Quranic verse. Okay, so here's the actual one. Therefore, the righteous women are devotedly obedient. That because I knew in the Arabic it's saying obedient. This translation is not having the obedient part, right? And guard in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. As to those women on whose part you fear disloyalty or disobedience, right? And so it's telling the husband that if you think that your wife is going to be disobedient, if you fear disobedient, here's the key thing, not if they are disobedient,
right?
Enough for you to fear disobedience, right? So even if they're not being disobedience, but you're fear, that's good enough. So an ill conduct, then admonish them first. So there's first steps, right? First step is to admonish them. Next, refuse to share their beds. So basically kick them out of your bed. Yeah. And last, beat them. Also, look at this. You see, it says lightly. Do you know why it's in parentheses?
Because it's not there. Why?
Because it's not in the Arabic.
Ooh.
Right? So the Arabic it says, and va'azrabahunna. Azrabahunna means hit them. But the translation realizes how bad this is, and the parts that are there in parentheses are stuff that it's adding to the Quranic verse without it actually being in the Quranic verse. The Quranic verse does not say lightly. Okay? And then it says, but if they... Well, yeah, go on.
No. You finish up. Finish.
Yeah. And it says, but if they return to obedience, seek not against them means of annoyance, for Allah is most high and great above you all. So it says like God is very nice. So don't beat them anymore. If they become obedient again, then
Makes
stop
sense.
beating them. Yeah. And also please note that it does not say that you can beat them. It says
you
beat
must.
them. So this is not a permission, this is a command. So it's not like you have a choice. Like God is telling you that you have to follow these steps, right? So there's
So
that.
two things I want to point out with this. Again, this is the reference that Smile is bringing to us, right? Okay. So one, just to say, nowhere in that verse did it mention women's strength. Just want to point that out. Just nowhere in there does it say that. Okay. And then
Oh.
two, and this is the part that I think is really important. This is the manual that he wants men and women to operate off of. That one right there that commands women to be obedient and get beaten by their husbands if their husbands fear disloyalty. That's the manual. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You
So that's actually a very good point, because he's like, yeah, if you go off the manual, you start poking things and you'd ruin the product, like a car, like comparing women products that come with manuals, right? But it seems like if there's any poking going around, it's actually the manual is telling you to beat the product. Yeah.
literally telling you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The men are to be protectors. The women have strengths. Look, men and female in Islam, they are not competitive. They're not competing with each other. Rather, they are complementary. Let me say that again.
I don't think you could complete a woman by beating them. Like think about that.
You know,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that thought. I need to make you a full person by beating the crap out of you for a little bit. Like, yeah, it's gross, man. It's just
makes you
really
complete. And yeah, obedience to a man is what makes a woman complete.
there you
Apparently.
go. Now we stumbled on it. That's why all you career women out there aren't happy. It's because you're not being obedient to a man that beats you. Obviously, I'm kidding, YouTube. Please, there's no way in the
Right.
world I
Oh
would
yeah.
believe that.
Okay. Yeah. So just to be fair, I do acknowledge that in response to all this conservative nonsense, some people take this so far to the other side,
Totally.
which and go as far as denying any differences, and that is insane. I mean, we have different hormones running through our veins. Of course, there are going to be differences. Even if you just take me and just inject more testosterone or estrogen in my body, you are going to see, just in one individual, you're going to see different behavior. You're going to see different desires. You're going to see different attitudes. So, of course, men and women, given that they have different hormones, not different hormones, different levels of hormones running through their veins, you're going to have certain attitudes, more common, not always, in some of them compared to the other,
Right.
generally. And there are people on the progressive side that has gone too far to the other side and deny this biological reality. Okay. But that them being wrong does not make these people right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, correct. There are some people on the left who, hey man, you kind of missed the boat on this. You have lost the plot on this particular argument. But that
Right.
doesn't mean, surprise, surprise, let's go back to beating women. That's not what that means. Not in the freaking slightest. But
Yeah. Oh, we got Gasian American with another super chat saying, "Thank you so much, Gasian American." Saying, "Game of Thrones Queen Rihanna, right? No, Rhaenys. No, is that how it states? Oh my god,
I don't know.
I forgot.
It's just the queen.
I, put your angry comments in the comments. States a wooden rod no thicker than a thumb, no more than 6 strikes. For the 7th strike is the stranger, face of death. Okay, thank you for that movie quote. And then thank you, Mustafa Jav, with another super chat saying, "My Bluetooth earbuds manual said to beat it."
They're teasing about the Quran, the Quran being the manual for how to
Oh,
live. Like the Bluetooth earbuds, like if it's not working, just beat it. If you fear disobedience from your Bluetooth earbuds.
yeah. Imagine the manual of something like, if your car if your car is not doing what you said it does, just beat
Punch
the
it.
crap out of your car.
Hit it once real good. If your oven doesn't turn on, or heat up at a right speed, yeah.
Yeah. Lightly, beat it lightly.
Light it
With the,
lightly.
yeah.
If you fear that your
Men and
refrigerator
women.
is going to give out on
Yeah.
you,
Oh, yeah.
beat
It's
it
a fear.
lightly.
Like before. Yeah. Like,
That's right.
like if your phone is working quite fine and doing whatever you think it does, but at some point, like, I suspect that it's going to have malfunctions soon.
Mm-hmm.
Not right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I am okay. Then beat the crap out of your phone. Right, that's gonna do it. Yeah.
With each other, rather they are complementary. Let me say that again. Men and women are not competing, rather they are complementary. They both have strengths, and it's these strengths that they bring together, and that's the beauty. That relationship, because it's strong and it's got the best of both, Allah uses it to induce life into this world. But unfortunately and sadly,
And then here's the thing: what are they responding to? Like, having, I mean, you're not okay. Men and women bring complement each other and bring their own strength in a relationship. Okay, like who's disagreeing? Like, what is your big?
I know.
How is that responding to women having rights? I mean, if women have more rights, that will still be the case. That is not anything in response to women having rights and not having. You could still remove gender roles. You could still give women rights, and that will still be the case. That would not violate men and women working
Mm.
together and complementing each other. Like,
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I'm really excited to see how he ties this back into the beginning of this with the studies. Also, I would just like for everybody out there to ask themselves this question and see if Smile to Jenna brings it to us. He keeps mentioning these strengths that women have, like he talks about how men are strong and they're protectors and they bring the money. He keeps mentioning these strengths that Islam promotes that women have. I can't wait to hear what those are. So when they get listed, somebody please
I
mention
think
it to
I
me.
have it. I
Oh,
think I have.
good. Oh, good. Yeah. Because he keeps saying this, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? What Quranic verse are you? I'm thinking the one that comes to my mind is how women's testimony is like half of men's. The one that's coming to my mind is that like
I found no.
Okay,
You're wrong.
go.
I found the strength of women. Okay,
Awesome.
so women are women. The benefit, the strength of women. Here,
Mhm.
here. I got it. Your wives are your fields.
Okay.
So go into your fields, whichever way. This is Quran chapter 2, verse 223. Okay, your wives are your fields. So go into your fields, whichever way you like, and send something good ahead for yourselves. Be mindful of God. Remember that you will meet him. Prophet, give good news to the believers. So, okay, this is the strength of women. They are like your fields, and you could go into them in any way you like. This is the Quran.
There you go, ladies. There you go. Don't ever say the Quran isn't on your side as women, okay? Right here, you can see it is literally comparing all women across the board for all time, comparing
Right.
you to a field
Yeah.
to plant seeds in. That is your
Yeah.
strength, women. You could just
Right.
get it from whichever way that your abusive husband wants to give it to you. That's your strength.
Yeah.
My God, that
So,
was great, Armin. That was good. That was good.
the commentary on this verse says that this is about how do I say this for YouTube not to demonetize?
Right.
This is about sex from behind. So people were like, "This is like the Quran is yeah, it's okay. It's your thing. You know, you could go into your wives from whatever way you like. They're yours. They're like your fields. Just like you go to your fields in
Sweet.
any way you like, you could go into your wife anyway.
Sweet.
So,
Sweet.
yeah.
Super glad Allah, knowing he had a limited time with this Muhammad cat to give him all the messages, give him the manual for life. Super glad to know that just somewhere in the middle of it, Allah was like, "Oh, by the way, if you like it in the butt, that's okay. We're cool with it. We're cool with it. Do your thing, man.
Well,
Do your
no, no,
thing."
no. Well, no, I mean it's not. No, I mean I wish it was saying that. It's saying that it's only saying that to one side. It's not like it's comparing the woman to a field because the field
Oh, you're
does not
right.
need
It's
consent.
it's even
field
worse.
It's worse. Like the field does not need to give consent.
Right,
Like it's
right.
field. You don't ask your field, "Can I go into
You
you?"
own it. You own your field.
You own
right.
it, so you go inside.
Oh my
It's your
God.
so the consent is just a one directional consent here. That's what this Quranic verse is
This
about.
is the manual, folks. This right here is the manual on how to live life, how to be the best human being you could possibly be. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. My God.
All right, let's continue.
Uses it to induce life into this world. But unfortunately and sadly, feminism has deluded us. And these very women in feminism, yeah, they are retracting what they've said. For example, second wave feminism's mother. Oh, yes, mother. Yeah, Jermaine Greer or Jermaine Greer. Yeah, she was
Why is he
initially
reading
against
notes?
childbearing.
What?
I know this isn't important. I know this isn't important, and I know he's about to make a point that we're probably going to rip apart. But like, why is he doing this? Do you see him looking down at the notes in his hand? Like, bro,
Yeah.
this video is 7 minutes long. You scripted this. You're telling me you couldn't just memorize it for the 30 seconds it takes to make the clip and then stop the video camera? Like, these are the things that I'm talking about. That just it's not terribly important, but it just bugs me. It's like, I don't know why he does some of this stuff, because look how much effort he went to a place, Armin. He had to bring a camera and a camera person with him, and he couldn't memorize freaking 2 paragraphs. It's fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go
It's okay. It's okay. But let's see what the point is trying to make with the. Let me go back
Yes,
a little bit and let's see what.
They are retracting what they've said. For example, second wave feminism's mother. Oh, yes, mother. Yeah, Jermaine Greer or Jermaine Greer. Yeah, she was initially against childbearing, and she said, "Nah, it's not good," and all of that sort of stuff that we know. But then after a while, even she expressed her regret, and she's not the only one. There are so many women.
Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, I
Mhm.
don't trust this website. This website, S2J News, it seems like
It's his news, isn't it?
Narataba is. Yeah, it's a web here. This is where he's getting all of this from, right? And I think this
Yeah.
is a website that is like a right-leaning biased website that I'm not necessarily believe the way that they're framing things, but maybe it's correct. I'm like, let's just go with the assumption that the way that this was described. I just said that just in case somebody goes and does some research and we're like, Armin, why did you believe this? This is not even the case. I don't care if this is the case. We're just going to go with the assumption that things are being framed properly. We're just going to assume that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
First of all, mother of feminist, second wave of feminism. Okay, it's first. There's no such thing. Feminism is a movement. It doesn't own like because they're coming. He's trying to come look at this from his own Islamic centric perspective. Because when we criticize Islam or Christianity, because the belief comes from certain people, and certain people within that religion are role models for that entire ideology. If you criticize that person, you can criticize the entire ideology. So if I criticize Jesus, I'm criticizing Christianity. If I criticize Muhammad, I'm criticizing the entirety of Islam. You don't have the same thing within feminism or liberalism or secularism. We don't have people like that. We could completely acknowledge somebody who is a feminist said something that was wrong, and that would not completely dismiss feminism. We could find liberal people. There is no liberal prophet. There is no feminist prophet. There is no, we could even acknowledge that there's certain movements within feminism that are absolutely destructive. It will still not dismiss feminism. We could find a whole wave of people that are liberals that are saying harmful things. It will not dismiss liberalism because it's not as a person centric. It's not based on charismatic figures that brought this ideology to us. We are looking at these by merit. We are looking at these claims and looking at how useful it is to our society, and regardless of who brought it, we evaluate its effects on society. For example, these Muslims, many of these Muslims, when they argue against liberalism, instead of looking at whether liberal values helps or hurts a society, they go and find certain people who used to be liberal, who used to write books that eventually led to liberalism, and say like, oh, look, they were slave owners. We don't care. We could like completely dismiss their being slave. We could completely like condemn them owning slaves and still read their books and like, this makes sense. It doesn't matter if they were slave owners. So he's doing the same thing because he's looking at the way we criticize Islam or Christianity, and he tries to go find people within feminism and look at certain statements that they said that was wrong and try to paint a broader picture about the entire feminist movement as a whole. I could completely acknowledge if that woman, for example, said that women should not have children, right? And then she realized later on that she regretted making that statement and she herself wants a child. Okay, she said something wrong. That is not okay. If with the excuse of feminism, you're telling women that they should decide not having children, that is a bad advice. Feminism, as I understand it, is about letting people make choices based on what their individual wants and needs are. If somebody is telling women to live a certain lifestyle in the name of feminism, then they do not understand feminism. I don't care if you want to label them as the mother of, I don't know, second wave of feminism. I, as a man, I will tell you that I understand feminism better than a woman that is trying to tell other women how to live in the name of feminism. That woman does not understand feminism. I understand feminism more than that woman. But go on.
Yeah, no, very, very good point. Very good point. And I think it's also worth pointing out that honestly, this point that he's bringing up is a point for our side, because in the liberal world, right, in the mindset that you and I are pushing, we are saying somebody who stood up and was the face of this movement, let's just take it at face value, okay? The face of this movement came out later and said, you know what? I made a mistake and I would have liked to have had the other option. Guess what you don't have under his system? You never have that chance. You never have the chance to ever say, oh man, you know what? I was forced to have this kid. Now I've got 5 kids. I really don't want, you don't get that chance. So again, his point just really, it's really a point for our side, honestly.
That's such a good point. This is actually showing the advantages of our ways. You could come and be like, yeah, this was wrong. I made a mistake. You can't do that with Islam or Christianity.
And in our side, on you know, again, on the liberal aspect, what we're saying is not only do you get to change your mind, not only do you get to have those options, right? But let's say you change your mind. Let's say you were a hardcore rabid radical and you change your mind. Guess what you get to do? You get to go out there and try to persuade people with arguments and evidence and experience. Guess what you don't get to do on his side? You never get to do that. You never get that freedom. You never get that option. And so this is a point for us. The fact that second wave, third wave feminist main figureheads of this movement have come out and said, I think differently. Here are my points. Here's my view now. Here's what I wish I would have done differently. That is
Right.
only acceptable in one person's side here, and it's definitely
Yeah.
not Smile to Jenna's.
Right, right. So you're telling me that, like, if you come out of feminism, they're not going to go choppy on you? Is that what you're telling me?
Mm.
Have that?
Armin,
Okay.
Armin, I could be wrong on this, okay? But I
Right.
do not think there will ever be an entire group of individuals who force the UN, I mean, not force the UN, but make the UN, not make the UN, but cause the UN to essentially uphold blasphemy laws. Yeah, I don't think that will ever happen with feminism like it has with Islam. There was
Right.
a UN statement recently talking about, yeah. So anyway, yeah, no, feminism does not have a sacred text. Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
can't blaspheme.
Guys, and also please understand that if we're not saying that there are no insanity
Right.
within feminism,
Of
okay?
course.
But of course there is. Of course there is.
Right.
I'm sure you could go find a ton of examples of many feminists saying
Yeah.
crazy things and doing crazy things. But here's the thing. There is not a single movement that doesn't have that. What
Yes.
did you expect? Of course, there's
Absolutely.
many of them. What the
And we're trying to take both at face value, okay? We recognize that there are people who do bad things in the name of something that does not come from that, okay? But again, just want to point out the difference. Just want to point out the difference here. We've got our side, Armin and my side, where we're saying at its most charitable, not saying people don't do bad things and take it to extremes, but here's the charitable. Women get to choose, just like men do. People just get to make individual decisions, and we're not just going to force people into a particular path. And on the other side, we've got beat your wife if you think she's not going to cook you dinner.
Right.
That's what we have. That is honestly the contention. Now, I know I was being a little bit glib with the second one, but it literally says in the manual for life to beat your wife. Okay? That's what it says. That is me being charitable, pointing that out and saying, good for you, Smile to Jenna, if you're not doing that. I sure hope you're not. But you're not
Jeez.
following what your religion says at its core. Whereas feminism, again, at its core, we want people to have opportunities. We want everybody
And
to have
here's
equal space.
you know that now that you said that, let me tell you something. Okay, I bet you, I would bet money on this, that Smile to Jenna would never even consider beating his wife.
I totally
Okay?
agree. Totally agree.
Okay, but here's the thing, because think most Muslims live better lives and have higher moral standards than their book. Okay, but unfortunately, another negative things I have to say about Smile to Jannah, he doesn't have this charitable view about atheists, for example, right? He makes general terms about entirety of atheists, and he finds atheists that have done something wrong, and he generalizes it to all of atheists. I've seen him do that a couple of times. Okay, but I want to encourage him to be as charitable, because I don't think most Muslims would. I think most Muslims would be disgusted thinking about beating their wife. Like, I think they could never even picture themselves doing something like that, right? Because we're human and we are, like,
Right.
most of us are naturally, we love our wives and our husbands and our boyfriends and our daughter. Yeah,
It's
we don't
almost
want
like this operator's manual isn't exactly correct to the real world. It's weird how that is, but it doesn't exactly fit. Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. Mustafa is with the super chat saying, "My brother said he wants his dream nikah, means marriage in Islam, to state his wife must stay home until they raise 9 kids. If she changes her mind, he can take a second wife."
My God.
Okay, your brother is not a good person, I guess. I'm sorry, Mustafa.
And just why would you want that? I mean, I like what Susanna said. Just, man, who can afford 9 kids? I mean, my God, how you doing that with one person staying home? Like, what kind of job do you have, man? My gosh. Yeah,
Wow.
crazy.
Okay.
Because look,
Oh, by the way, one thing about what Mustafa just said. I've seen a lot of people, again, not most, a lot does not mean most people. Okay. I've seen a lot of Muslims use the second wife threat as a way to silence their wives, right? So, I mean, that's better than beating them, to be honest, but it's still disgusting, right?
I mean,
Because you always have that option. They will tell you, like, you're not being very obedient. Maybe I need to introduce a second wife to the family. And that is like scary to a lot of people. And they're like, okay, I'll be more obedient. I will make you proud as a wife so you don't go marry someone else.
so if you are a good enough human to not follow the Quran to actually physically abuse your wife, then you should follow the Quran to mentally and emotionally abuse your wife. I'm so confused by this. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, that's intense. Yes, exactly. Susanna's right. Emotional damage. Like, okay,
Oh, no,
great.
that's
So
not how you read that.
oh, what?
You have to read that differently. It's called. I don't know if I could do this right. It's
Like,
like I have to do it in an Asian accent.
emotional damage. Ah! So,
Sorry.
but I did do good.
Okay, because some people, I don't know if people understand this reference, but yeah, it is emotional damage. All right, let's continue.
between 20 and 30 is the peak time, yeah, for them to get married and the likes. But after they start increasing, well, studies tell us after 35, the chances of them successfully
That's just BS.
becoming pregnant
This
is
is
reduced.
just silly.
Is that-
This is yeah, it's worth mentioning this because this comes up every so often about how women after the age of 35 have a radical decrease in fertility. Technically, there is a doubling of risk, but the last time I looked at this, we're talking a doubling of risk going from 1% to 2.2%. So that's nothing. Like, women have absolutely given birth well into their 40s. Yes, when it comes to longer term aged, okay? By the time an individual with a uterus reaches the age of 70, the likelihood of them getting pregnant is essentially freaking zero. Whereas an individual who makes semen can technically still make people
But
pregnant. Okay.
doesn't it reduce your chances? I thought it reduces your chances to get pregnant significantly
Not
once you pass.
between not between 30 and 40. It's only after that age that you start to see a drop. But again, literally
Mhm.
well up until 50 years old, there have been lots and lots of incredibly successful pregnancies. This
Yeah, but
information is just
but
outdated.
okay, but lots of I don't know this, by the way. I'm just asking. But lots of successful pregnancies doesn't mean it still could be the same. You could still have a much reduced chance, but still have lots of successful pregnancies. These two don't contradict each other. So, for
Yeah.
example, if your chances goes from 95%, I don't know, to something below 40%, that 40% of women above age 40, that's a lot of women that are pregnant. It still halved your chances, but
Yes.
still,
Yes, I agree. And what I'm saying is that the number is not it's framed in a way that makes it seem like it's going from 95% to 40%. But in reality, it's going from 95% to 92%. Which, yes, that
oh,
is a drop and that is worth paying attention to. Anybody trying to get pregnant at, 40 plus definitely has a little bit more caution that they want to take. But again, we're not talking into such a degree that once you turn 40, your ovaries just dry up and you're not able to make kids or anything. Like that's all I wanted to say, is that this information is a little outdated, and it's worth talking about what we actually have more current information on, which is yes, there it is absolutely perfectly acceptable, totally biologically natural. There's no problems. Like, yes, again, obviously go speak with your doctor if you're trying to get pregnant at any time. But yeah, I just wanted to just come out a little hard on that, because I hear this sent out a lot, and it's
So,
it's
okay,
misleading, and it
yeah.
makes it seem like women, you've only got 10 years, you got to go make a baby right now, and that's not
All right, okay. So the point he's trying to make is that women going after their careers, they're going to miss a window of
right.
opportunity to have children, and they need children to be happy.
Exactly.
And
That's what he's saying.
if they miss that window, a lot of them are missing that window because society is telling them lies, and now they're
Yep.
going to live miserable lives, right?
Yep. And he wants
Uh, uh, yeah.
and he wants to say that, yeah, basically, if you go work a job from the age of 18 until you're 30, you're not going to be able to have kids anymore because your body just won't do it. And that's not true. That's flat
Okay.
out not true.
Okay. But here's the thing. Even if he's exaggerating, I could acknowledge that there are some people who don't take all the information that you might be happier with a child, and you should also consider that earlier in your life
Sure.
seriously enough, right?
Sure. Totally.
So maybe he's misrepresenting the information and he's exaggerating here, but it is true. I will give him that there are so many people on the left who constantly tell women that girls that don't consider or don't go after being
Mhm.
having a baby or having a family or raising, being a housewife and stuff, that some of them might think like they were betrayed and they're at an age where they missed an opportunity to be happy, and that was robbed away from them because they were told that that's not going to make them happy. All right, so that does happen, and I think what we need to do is not what he's ascribing, but to just make sure that they are aware of all the options that they have, and everybody, not just girls, boys and girls, to
Mhm.
just to feel free to consider everything. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think that it is a betrayal of young girls not to tell them that, hey, it is possible for you to actually live a happier life if you get married and have children earlier in your life.
Sure.
Like that seems like a taboo thing for in a lot of leftist circles. That seems to be a taboo suggestion. But some people, you have to tell them that that's a possibility for them to consider it as an option that they might like.
Yeah.
You're-
I think, yeah, no, totally. I think your point is completely valid. Like, yeah, 100%. Taking that side of it, yes, I do agree. There are some people out there, unfortunately, who have pushed the narrative that,
Mm.
like, oh man, this wasn't exactly the right choice for this person, and you pushed it on somebody in a way that they didn't really have a good option of weighing all the different choices that they had. Totally, totally, totally. My main thing was just specifically about the medical information that gets
Right. No,
continually pushed. But yeah, the
Mhm.
point you're talking about some people going too hard and basically telling children this is the way to do it, you have to, again, is what you said earlier. They're on the left side and they've just gone too far with it. They've
Too
gone
far.
so far to be setting up these gender roles again in an opposite fashion. And it's like, no, that's not what we want. We didn't want that at all. We didn't want the gender roles at all. So yeah.
So like, for example, Susanna is saying, call me problematic, but I think we should explicitly warn women about this regret, right? But all possible regrets, right? Because like
Sure.
Susanna is saying, I know men in their
Yeah.
40s deeply regret refusing to have children earlier in their life.
This isn't just a woman thing. This is a person
Yeah.
thing. There's something about
Yeah.
being a human that relates to us. It makes sense. That's why we're still alive.
Yeah. Okay, but to another counter to my counter, you should also know there are women who regret having children this early on,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So you should. So I think as a young girl, you should be introduced to women that like, I regret not having a child earlier. But
Right.
you should also meet women that like, I regret having a child this early. I had so many
Yeah.
dreams. I could have advanced in my careers. I didn't go traveling. I didn't do this and this. I had a kid too early. So you should be aware of all the regrets out there, so you understand, so that you could make a better decision for yourself.
Totally agree. And you should have people that are 40 years old who are very, very happy and have no kids, and people that are 40 years old with a bunch of kids who are super happy, because it hits because again, what Armin and I are advocating for is the spectrum. We are advocating for that individuality, whereas what Smile to Jenna wants is specifically fit this box if you're a woman, period, end of sentence. That's it. You don't get a choice, no other options. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh, we got 2 super chats from Gajin American. I don't understand this at all, but thank you for the super chat. Gajin is saying, what is this? In Ruism, one may have as many wives as they could afford. In PRC7, women mortgaged a mansion together. We can make gametes out of any cell now.
Gajin put together 3 completely disparate comments and put them all into one super chat and was just like, they'll figure it out. They'll get it. Because he was talking about the artificial womb from earlier. Then he was talking about the threat to getting another wife. Yeah. You're all over the board, Gajin.
Thank you, Gajin. Gajin American with another super chat saying, don't forget trans men.
Agreed. Trans men are often forgot about in this conversation.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, let's continue.
Juiced. We know over 30, it becomes more difficult. Yeah, and there's many reasons psychologically why men prefer younger women, and that's because naturally younger women will.
That just came out of nowhere.
Okay, let him make his point. Let me make him first. Like, I don't know where he's going with this.
30, it becomes more difficult. Yeah, and there's many reasons psychologically why men prefer younger women, and that's because naturally younger women will have less experience, therefore less trauma. Older women will have more experience, they'll come with more trauma, and again, it puts strain on the relationship.
Oh my God.
I don't think that's why men like younger. I'm a bit skeptical. I don't think that's the reason why men prefer younger women. I mean, I agree that most men prefer younger women, but I really suspect that's not the actual reason.
Oh
Is that
my gosh. It's so weird because it was like, he said, okay, so the first thing that he said is the exact thing that makes you sound like a creep. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's the exact thing that makes you sound like a terrible person. It's like, hey, I noticed you happen to be dating younger women. What's your reasoning for that? And it's like, oh, I want them to have less experience when it comes to the dating scene. It's like, wait, why? That sounds terrible. What are you doing to them? Why do you want them to not be knowledgeable about how the world works? Like, that's gross. Right. You know, that's like the exact thing that is talked about when we do psychological profiles on PDF files. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's one of the number one things. It's like, why do they go after children? And it's like, well, because children are less experienced. They're less knowledgeable about the world. So you can manipulate and abuse them easier. Like, so I'm with you in my skepticism. I don't think that's the reason. I would also like to say, I truly hope that is not the reason, because that's gross.
Okay, but let's be clear here. I don't think it's you're a creep if you like younger women. I think that's completely okay.
No.
If adults, yeah.
Right. I said I agree. I don't think that makes you a creep just because you like somebody that happens to be younger, again, legally consenting adults. The creepy part is when you say the reason I like younger people is because they're less experienced and less knowledgeable about the world. That's
I know you were saying. I know you were saying that. I just want to make sure that we're not shaming men who prefer younger women over older women.
Yeah, totally agree.
People who prefer older women over younger women. Okay,
100%.
Your taste. Okay, that's completely fine. Right? Yeah,
totally agree.
Yeah, and also I don't think people who prefer older or younger, they're not like, I prefer mine with a little bit less trauma or more trauma. They're like, it's just their taste. This is just their taste. They don't put There's not that much.
Is that not how you pick partners, like romantically and sexually? You ask them on their first date. You're like, hey, so how many brothers and sisters do you have? That's cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, how traumatized are you? Are you like a 9? Are you like an 8? Because really, I can't handle more than a 4 or 5 right now. Like, I need some low trauma.
I like my woman with this specific level of trauma, not too little, but also not too much. You know,
Right,
just a little,
right.
just a little trauma to make things interesting, but not enough trauma to make my relationship full of drama. And
I don't want to,
fighting.
right. I don't want to have to like be there for you emotionally, you know? Like, I don't want to support you
I
through
just
like
want
difficult times.
I just like some daddy issues and insecurities so that you are dependent on me for emotional support, but not too much drama. Just
So like,
just a bit of daddy issues would
so
be
what you're
nice. Thank
saying is, we're looking for a woman who has like, not like the high school prom walkout type trauma thing, you know, like embarrassed in front of the whole school, but like a daddy didn't buy her a bicycle one Christmas. Like, we need that level of, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Like, is this somewhere in between?
Yeah,
This is
like not
terrible.
got enough love as a child, so now like gets terrified every time I scare her about maybe I would leave you, so she comes running back to me, like that level of like, you know,
I love this right here. Pragmatic Chris. Trauma that doesn't equal drama. Got it.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
trauma
That's
that I could
terrible.
use as a weapon to control her, basically.
There we go. Okay. So now you see, I feel like you're coming more to my side here,
Yeah,
man. I feel like you're seeing the creepiness.
yeah, I see your point. I see what you're saying.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, Susanna has a good comment here. Susanna is saying, "Remember the manosphere guy who told women to endure what is DV?
Domestic vio.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
Vio. Okay, okay. And
uh-huh.
how he wanted a woman without trauma, and then got exposed as a massive abuser. Bro, it's literally you doing the trauma. Oh yeah, okay. I see you guys. I see what you guys are saying. I understand.
Drop that
Also,
mic.
Susanna is also saying, trans men, you get back in the kitchen as well.
That's right.
Okay.
The misogyny, trust me, there's enough hatred out there for everybody. Yeah.
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence. Yes,
Violence.
yes. We've all got that.
Yeah.
In fact, we love celebrities, yeah?
Oh, we do?
I hope most of you guys don't. But for those people that do, you got Scarlett Johansson, you got Mila Kunis, and Serena Williams. All three of
Why are these not being blurred? You had the hijabi woman face being blurred, but you have non-hijabi woman not being. I don't even know what the rules are anymore.
No,
Okay.
Scarlett
he's
Johansson.
inconsistent. He jumps around.
Yeah.
This video has been a little difficult to follow, like, honestly, because he just out of nowhere, he just like takes a sharp left turn and starts talking about something else. So I don't know. Again, where is he gonna?
I
Is
think
he
he's just gonna. These celebrities regret not having children or stuff. I think that's what he just found a list of. Well,
I hope most of you guys don't. But for those people that do, you got Scarlett Johansson, you got Mila Kunis, and Serena Williams. All three of them in this S2J News article, you can see them admitting that child rearing and working, you just can't balance the two. It's
What?
not.
he said like you can't do. So what do you want them to do? Do you want like Serena Williams not to have been doing all of that? Sounds like a really bad argument.
Yeah,
You're actually making yeah. It's hard to balance. It's hard to live. Smile to Jenna. What should we do? Should we just die? Like, yeah, there are things that are hard to do. I don't understand what the point is.
yeah, and I'm completely confused about why he's bringing this,
Like,
because none of these points here from any of these people like is on his side. It just doesn't make any sense. Like every single one of these individuals are insanely successful in their professional life and have children that they do absolutely take care of. What you're seeing here is, for instance, Serena Williams saying, "I'm not around as much as I would like to be." That's literally the same thing that we get from professional men. We get from career
Yeah.
execs who've spent 40 years working their way to the top of some Fortune 500 company. Like you ask most of them and they'll say the same thing. They're like, look, like I wish I was around more for my kids. Like I'm not able to be there as much. Work takes time. None of this seems to be what he's saying. It's weird. It's confusing.
Yeah, so I mean, did he expect all of these successful women to like not be this successful and just spend time with their children only? Like,
Right.
I mean, they have chosen, like, it's stressful, but there are many things in life that is stressful. We can't just wish our stresses to go away. Yeah, there are many things that we wish that it could be different, but like we have to make our choices. Like, if you know, if you are lucky enough to be one of those people that has enough income to just be at home and spend time with your child and you prefer that, then make that decision. Okay, that's fine. I don't understand why are you making this a gender thing?
Exactly.
This is nothing. This is as true with fathers as it's with mothers.
Yeah. And
Do you
just
think-
anybody.
Yeah, I mean, do you think like they're like, oh, a mother should stay at home and a father should go work? Okay.
Mhm.
Do you think the father is not going to be like, well, I wish I could spend more time with my children? Like, if I show you a quote by thousands of men saying that they wish that they could spend more time at home with their kids, would that be an argument for husbands not working and being stay-at-home dad? Would that be an argument? Because that's the point that you're making. So if I go
Yep.
and find you a whole bunch of men that prefer that they could just stay at home and spend time with their children, then by your argument, we should make men not work, not have a career.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is what, when people are talking about toxic masculinity, this is what they're talking about. And here's why, y'all, is because what he's doing here, right? Yes, it's misogyny. Yes, sexism overlaid. Totally agreed. He's focusing on stuff that is really basically putting women down at the end of the day. But here's what he's also doing is he's putting men down. And he's telling you as a man that if you're at work and you're working real hard and you're working those long hours to bring home that money for your wife and your kids and you're missing your children, see, there's a deficiency in you, bro. Because what you should be doing is you should be working harder, because that thought of missing your child as a professional is only something that women do. You as a man, you need to be strong. You need to be the protector. You need to be somebody who doesn't have these, female emotions of caring about your children. Like, ridiculous. This is what toxic masculinity is it's a focus on putting down women, but also it eats away at men. Masculinity is not toxic by itself, but there is a version of masculinity that people like him perpetuate that hurts everyone.
Right. So let me actually give him a point, okay? And see to the other side, right?
Please.
It is, I would agree that it's better for children, if one of the parents was staying home.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But is it better mom or dad? Is that
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
And yeah, I agree. A parent with the kids. Yeah, totally.
Yes, that would be better if it was possible. That would be better if it was possible.
Yeah,
but
totally.
That's actually a point for us, because if you don't have gender roles, you have more ways to make that happen. If you could, like, you know what, let's see who makes more money, and the one that is not making as much money, that one stays home, regardless of them being the father or the mother. So now you are a family with more flexibility. There are more ways for you to figure out how we could make this, if we could make this possible for you, for a family that doesn't have gender roles. They are more likely to be able to get to a place where one of the parents is just staying home with the kids.
Yep.
Right.
Totally.
And
totally.
Susanna is saying the problem is not competing mother worker roles, but material constraints. Yes. Cue commie music. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. It's like, Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because I was thinking like maybe smile. I was thinking that like it's like make smile to Jenna. You're sounding like a commie because the only way to solve the things that you're complaining about is that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a larger problem in society as a whole. Things are expensive right now. Like
Right.
even somebody like Scarlett Johansson got to be working all the time because she's not getting paid. Like, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I would think like if they're making yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna decide.
Working. You just can't balance the two. It's not. It can't be done effectively. And Islamic law came to preserve 5 things. Yeah, life, intellect, religion.
Life, but not necessarily for people who leave Islam. Okay.
Right.
Intellect. Oh, sure. Intellect. Oh my God. I don't the religion that teaches you to choose the naql over the aql, to choose the revelation over wisdom, over to trust in God over your own understanding. Yeah, sure.
The
That's the religion that is trying to preserve the
didn't didn't
intellect.
the Taliban cite the Quran as to reasons why to not allow girls to go to school? It's just, not saying the Taliban is perfectly Islamic, just saying, you want to argue Islam is preserving intellect.
I mean, you don't have to go as far as Taliban. You just go to his friend Ali Dawah. He's like, he like they are wrong because they're choosing the aql over the naql. Like basically, he's saying that they're choosing their wisdom over God's revelation. His own friend is saying that. You don't. Why are you going all the way to Afghanistan?
Good point.
Yeah.
Family, wealth. There's difference of opinion. Some people add other things.
This,
Religion, family, wealth.
this preserving family stuff, this is complete nonsense. They are stealing these lines from Christians. This is like Christians are like, oh, we're defenders of family and stuff. This was never in Islam. Like, there's nothing in Islam that says like we're defenders of family as a unit. You're making stuff up. You just understood that Christians before you figured out like, okay, we cannot come out and say we're anti-gay and anti-trans and anti-this and anti-that. So let's just say we're pro something, and pro-family is the way to go about and be all this bigoted without acting like we're bigoted. And many Muslims were like, I see what you did there, and now they basically stole that line. This is not in Islam.
I just want to say it just for clarification's sake, Armin, it's not actually in Christianity either.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. They kind of just made that crap up too. Some of the Hindutfas like to pull this garbage out too, which again, don't know where that comes from. Don't know. I've looked through these texts. Don't see it in there. Yeah. In fact, I would see the exact opposite. Like, for instance, Jesus literally saying, "I come to divide families." Like literal quote. I mean, it's hard to that's
Yeah, actually, it's a good point, Chris. Okay, and Islam has that as well. So Jesus tells people that I come to turn the mother against her daughter, to turn the father against the son. Yeah. And he also says that if you love your family more than you love me, you're not with me. That's in literal the Bible.
Quote. Yeah.
And Islam is actually worse. Islam is actually worse. Okay? In Islam, it brags about father. Okay, so there's a story in Islam, right, where the father and the son met each other in battle, and the father said a couple of times to the son, it said to the son eventually when he became a Muslim that I could have, like he was on the wrong on two different sides. Like the son was on the, if I remember this correctly, on the Muslim side, and the father was on the non-Muslim side, right? And they were fighting, and the father told his son that if I could reach you I could have reached you a couple of times, but I didn't. I held back because I didn't want to kill my son. And he's like, you would have done the same for me, right? Right? And the son was like, no, I was a Muslim. I would have proudly taken you if I could, right?
Family values right there.
Yes. And this story is shown as is told to us as the strength of Islam. That look how much these people believe. Look how strong Islam is. That is stronger than the love that you have for your own father. This is what a true believer does. So family values, you know what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Hey, they got one. He got 1 out of 5 right. Religion. Islam is here to protect religion. You got that one right.
That one. I cannot argue with that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's circular. By
Also,
the way,
wealth is a little weird in there too, because isn't there a whole thing about like in Islam about like not interest or like not getting interest or something? Like there's a whole big discussion on.
I think if you're talking about reducing the wealth of non-believers, but
Okay.
and giving
Okay.
it the wealth of, I mean,
Okay.
if you're to the Muslims, I think you could say, yeah,
So-
wealth of Muslims is
so-
it's there. Islamic law is there to preserve the wealth of Muslims by taking it away from non-Muslims. I would
so,
agree with that.
so
Okay.
you're saying Islamic law is there to legalize the theft of money from non-Muslims? Like, I guess that's technically a point in his face.
Not really, because theft means illegal. But if it's Islamic law, if it's according to the law, can it
That's
actually
silly.
be theft? Like, it's not
Yeah,
theft.
I guess
It's
not.
good
I
according to
got-
the law.
got a point there.
Right. Yeah, it's not theft if the law says it's okay. Okay.
There's difference of opinion. Some people add other things, but family is one of them. And look, it's not that Islam is
Wait, like this list of 5 that you just made up, there's nothing in Islam that has a list
that
of.
says this.
There's
There's
nothing-
nothing.
This is Smile to Jannah's list of 5. This is not part of
Pulling
Islam.
it out from some right.
reflect religion, family, wealth. There's difference of opinion. Some people add other things, but family is one of them. And look, it's not that Islam is against careers because we need female doctors and the likes. But the thing is, it's not something that is primarily the duty of the women. Yeah.
Right. So basically, the argument is like there are some rare cases where some women are okay to have a career, and the only example that they could come up with is female doctors, because you don't
Right.
want male doctors to see. You don't want a female to go to a male doctor and see her body naked and all.
Right.
Like, if you must, that's fine, but it's better if a female woman sees a female doctor. So
So
that's
how do you do that? That's the question. Is if he's, because it sounds like he's about to. It sounds like he's about to pretend like he's allowing for that 5% that you and I were theorizing on earlier, right? It sounds like that's what he's gonna start going into. But how, under his system that he's advocating for, do you get female doctors that can do OBGYN practices? Because the woman would be confined to the home. She wouldn't be allowed to go out and study to
So-
become a doctor.
So the argument is like we could just allow 0.5% of women, rare cases,
Oh my
if they're
god.
struggling.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. So like
So
so
just
give
like
them the bare minimum of medical practice that we can, like
no. You could give them all the medical information, but only with a very small percentage of women. Like the argument is like the vast majority of women should focus on being housewife, but you don't need much. Like you could just have like 0.1% of the women to have careers, and that would be enough. Like it shouldn't be a focus. The focus should be on housewives. Very rare cases you could have women also focusing.
so what do you do, like a Hunger Games style pick from a fire thing where you just pick out the woman and you're like, this year it'll be Sarah. Congrats, you're gonna be educated, Sarah. Like,
So for example, you could in school. Here's what I would suggest. Like I would steelman their position, right? In school, you could get the top of the class. Like so, a woman would have some very basic education, and after elementary school, the rest of them should go focus on learning how to be a good housewife and all. But the top of the class, like the top 1% of women that are showing the most skills in school, that 1% you could have that. Okay, like you are selected being, yeah.
you're talking about so A again. Okay, great. So we take the top percent and we just force them to all be doctors. That's crazy.
No,
But
the ones that are like most of them, they want to be doctors or whatever. You're like,
Okay.
no, sorry. but the top 1% that wants to be a doctor, like among all the ones
Okay.
that are saying they want to be a doctor, to most of them you will say no, but then to that very very high rank, the best ones, you will say that okay, sure, whatever.
So one, Darko has a good question. How do you get good female doctors if the pool is so small? But two, my other
No,
question
it's
is,
not.
well, the pool is small because you're only taking the top 1% of the 1%, right? Of the women.
No, but I mean, from all the women who want to be a doctor, which is a lot of women, you
Sure.
only take the best of the best of the best. So you will get good female doctors then, because a lot of them want to be doctors, but you will say reject most of them. So
But
the top, the top, the top 1% will be good doctors because they're the top 1%.
but are we taking the top 1% of like high schools? Are we taking the top 1% of high school kids? Is that the cutoff for women before they don't get educated anymore? Like,
The
at what
top
point are we?
1% of women who want to have like certain careers, you will allow them to start advancing in
No,
their
but they can't.
education.
But they can't do that. That's the thing. That's the problem, Armin. There's a fundamental problem from the beginning is you're assuming that they can want careers. That's not a part of this equation. Women aren't allowed to really have
No,
careers. They're
no,
supposed
no,
to
no.
stay at
They're
home.
allowed to want. No, no, no. They're allowed to want to have careers. You
Okay.
just
They
they
just can't
can't.
have the career.
Yeah. Look, all of them are allowed to want something. They're
Right,
just
you
not
just
allowed
have
to
to
have
say it.
what they
Right.
want. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, okay. All right. I think I'm with you. It's just you and I are like, you and I are twisting ourselves up in the weirdest of ways to try to make this just the bare minimum of decent, you know? Like, it's amazing that we are going through this much effort for this guy, but he really should start thanking us. Like, because
Yeah,
you have come in through this video more times than him and been like, no, here's what he's actually trying to say. This is a coherent argument. This has some legitimacy to it. It's still wrong. It's still a crap argument, but
yeah. Okay. It's just sometimes it's more internally consistent, but it's
right,
still wrong.
right. It's still right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So oh, like Sheikh Armin and Pastor Rarity.
That's right. You are blessed, my child.
Okay, let's continue.
It's all fine and well and good. You don't have kids, you can work. Even if you have kids, you can do stuff from home. But careers that require you to go out, that will give you masculine traits, that will cause a clash at home because a man doesn't want to come home to another man. A woman doesn't want to come home to another woman. Yeah, because she's coming home and naturally the man's going to be at home. Yeah,
Forget all the
and vice
gay and
versa.
bi people
So-
out there. Like, yeah, a woman doesn't want to come home to another woman, except for all of the lesbians, except for all of the single lesbians right now. Do you know what the number one thing those women want is? Another woman to come home to.
Does having a career make you masculine? Like,
See,
is that
oh
a
my
thing?
God, I'm so glad you said that because, yes, how stupid was that? Well, a job that lets you stay at home and work, by the way, doesn't give you those masculine qualities, Armin. So hope you don't have a job that's from home. Like, for instance, a YouTube creator, like a Dawa YouTube creator who really his only job is to stay at home and make videos. That would be a shame that he's not getting those masculine traits. Smile to Jenna. Not pointing anybody out, smile to Jenna. But
I just
having a
wonder.
job makes you a man.
I just happened to, what happened to a man is somebody with XY chromosomes, right?
Mm.
And a woman is somebody with X. I thought a man is a man is a man, and you're born a man, and a man cannot turn into a woman, and a woman cannot turn into a man.
Mm.
But apparently they can.
By
Apparently
getting a job.
by getting a job. Like,
Mhm.
what happened to gender being defined by birth, and this not being something that is based on your identity or your personal traits or
Wow.
your like I
Armin.
thought, like, or your social interactions and how you
Hold
see
up.
yourself.
Armin.
I thought these things have no effect on whether you are a man or a woman. I mean, I don't know. I like, my mind is being blown
Are
right now.
you
Yeah.
are you saying that Smile to Jenna is advocating for a spectrum when it comes to gender and sex? Is that what he's advocating here? It
I think
seems
so.
like it
Yeah.
might be. He's gone woke, Armin. Smile to
He's
Jenna has gone woke.
This
He's
is
now
too woke.
agreeing.
He's saying gender is on a spectrum that could switch based on the things
It's
that
a
you
social
like.
construct.
And
We
it's a
did
social-
it, guys.
He's saying gender is a social construct. He's saying a woman who goes and have a career, she's a man. So gender became a social construct because she took roles that are traditionally for men, and that makes her a man.
That's it. That's how it works. Duh. I
Small
mean,
to gender has gone woke. Small to gender has gone woke.
we did it, guys. We can shut down the channel. We're all fit. We've accomplished our. No, just kidding. It's just-
What the hell? Unbelievable.
man.
Oh yeah, super chat by Asian American. New transition procedure just
That's right.
dropped. Yeah,
That's
good
right.
job.
All
Just-
the trans men out there, all you got to do is get employed.
Get a job. You're a man. I mean,
Also,
would you use the right pronouns then, Smile to Jenna? If a woman who wants to be a man and gets a job, given that you think it's man, would you now use the pronouns that they prefer? I don't know.
I also have the question, which is, if you are a man and want to transition to being a woman, should you just quit your job? Right?
Or get
Because
if
if getting a job makes you a woman and makes you a man, does losing your job or quitting your job make you a woman? Because honestly, like I don't know what all these people.
I think you need to also, I don't know, change some diapers. You know,
You have to start cooking and cleaning, is what you're
washing the dishes. I
Right.
think if you keep if you are want to be a woman, okay, just make sure that you wash enough dishes. Like I think a couple of years of washing dishes will completely change your gender.
Armin, I loaded the dishwasher earlier tonight. Am I okay?
Oh,
Am I
no.
still a man, or am I?
Do you want to be if you are you happy being a man?
Yeah, no, everything's great. I just wash dishes every now
Stop.
and then. Yeah.
Just stop immediately. If you're okay, if you're happy with being a man, then I suggest that you stop immediately.
Do not wash dishes if you
Do
want
not
to
wash
remain a man.
It-
Do not
it-
get a job if you want to remain a woman. That is what we are hearing, folks.
Even if that means having to live a filthy lifestyle with dirty dishes, garbage piling up,
All right.
starving because you have no food to eat,
Yeah.
and having to wear your dirty underwear over and over again. Do not
Right.
wash that underwear. That would literally turn you into a woman. Stop.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad that we got this tonight, because I was on the verge, of cooking, cleaning. I mean, Armin, I was about to do laundry. Like, can you?
God.
I know.
know.
Okay, so you heard it, folks. This is
Right.
keep your manliness. Don't cook or clean. Keep your womanliness. Don't have a job. Done.
Don't get a job. God. So stupid. Oh my God. All right.
This is very important, guys. So Allah give us the ability to understand and protect us from the virus of feminism that is seeping into every home. I've been to even the villages in Pakistan, and I can see it being seeped in even over there as well, through the mobile phone, through dramas, the Hum TV dramas or whatever it is.
We're taking over, people. The world liberal order is taking over. You cannot stop a good thing. Yeah, good. Be afraid. Be very afraid. We're taking over your Islamic. You think you're taking over liberal countries? Well, we're taking over Islamic countries.
So Allah protect us, and keep.
Allah cannot save you. The world liberal order is stronger than your Allah.
Our homes together. It's very important that we invest in our homes, in our relationships. It's not as simple as, oh, she needs to stay at home and she just does the work. He can go out, he can do whatever he wants. No, when she's at home, you need to make sure she has a good environment at home, meaning she has hobbies.
So
give her some toys to play with, Armin. Give her some
No.
toys. Don't let your woman at home be bored. Give her some fun toys, like a ball of yarn or like one of those scratching posts for cats, like
Yeah. If you want to give your wife a good environment at home, just make sure you don't follow the Quran, which literally
Ooh.
tells you to threaten them with beating them. So I don't think that's healthy. That's a very healthy.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Forgot that was part of that whole operator's manual
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Meaning
Okay.
there is good communication between the two. You're investing in your relationship.
Good communication means to you that you let her know that if she doesn't obey you, you will literally beat the crap out of her.
Good communication is fearing that she's going to be disloyal to you, and so
Yeah.
you forsake her in bed. Okay?
Right.
I don't know.
No, I mean that is good communication. I mean, if you are going to beat your wife because she's disobedient, if you actually let her know that that's going to happen, that is actually good communication. If she's
Okay,
aware,
yeah, but
that
yeah,
is good communication.
but this is
Yeah.
like you telling somebody that's like robbing a bank, like, hey, just make sure you have good public speaking skills. It's like say it
It will help.
say
It will help.
I
It does. Right. I mean, if you want to threaten your wife, good communication skills does help. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
make sure that you clearly lay out the threat and the punishment that you're gonna, so that she's not confused. Yeah. Oh my god.
You're investing in each other's hobbies. You're giving each other time as well, and you're not just maxing your time on social media when you go home or
That's
when
the
you're at
problem.
home just on the phone. The woman could be calling her friends, the man could be on Netflix, whatever. No, and it's very important naturally to work on yourselves as well, just like I said, strengthening the relationship, also your body as well. Yes, staying fit and healthy.
So this is very interesting because um he's saying obvious things that everybody knows that is good, but the obvious things that are good that everybody knows that are good has nothing to do with your Islam. Your Islam lacks good advice. That's why to your Islamic video you have to add good advice that is actually good advice to try to suggest to your audience, like, look, Islam has the solutions. These are not Islamic solutions. There's nothing in the Quran that suggests any of these. The interesting thing is that none of his actual good advice can be found in Islam.
Right. This is the exact same playbook that every religion has done for generations, which is they take everything that's good about just people and go, oh, that exclusively comes from us. You can only find that by eating our crackers and drinking our grape juice. And it's like, no, I just want to be a nice person to people. I just want to be physically well so that I can get up in the morning. Like, yeah, ridiculous.
It's funny when he actually goes to advice that we acknowledge that is good advice. You can't find any connection between that to actual Islam. Yeah.
See that your partner doesn't have to look around at other options, mate. You are the only option.
Wait, you have to work out. Whoa, wait, that actually, I thought he's giving good advice, but he just
no. Right when we thought he was gonna claim victory, he snatches defeat from the.
Like,
oh my god!
Go work out so that your wife's eyes doesn't wander.
That's
also
the
your
reason
body
to work
as well.
On yourself.
That's the reason. Yeah. Well,
yes, staying fit and healthy. That your partner doesn't have to look around at other options, mate. You are the only option.
Guys, I mean, work out because it's just a good thing to work out.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Make that so. May Allah protect us and bless us further. It's becoming more and more rough, but we are not losing hope, mate. Yeah, we're not losing hope. Let's stay steadfast.
That sounds like you're being defeated. Like, that sounds like somebody who's recognizing that they're becoming more and more irrelevant, their ideology. You know, like,
don't tell him that, Armin. Don't tell him that. He's so happy. He's thinking Islam. He keeps saying the stuff like Islam's the fastest growing religion in the world, not knowing that has to do with birth rates. And then in terms of like deconversion, it's hemorrhaging people. So let him stay in his happy little bubble. He's fine. He's doing great. Don't ruin it for him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have hope. God will defend you. Don't worry.
That's right.
Let's help the others that aren't steadfast. Keep your circle strong. Let's leave it there until next time. Assalamu alaikum.
All right. Well, that was that.
That was great. Also, I just want to point out, not super important, not the main thing to take away from this, but remember how like an hour ago I was like, gosh, I wonder if he'll ever mention those strengths of women that the Quran says that women have. Remember how he just like gave up on that entirely and just moved on? It's weird.
I showed you more Quranic. I think we were more Islamic than his.
We did.
Right?
You know,
Like-
it's
like-
frustrating when that happens, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we just watched an Islamic channel without a single reference to the Quran. And then you watch an atheist channel and we reference the Quran. I would say that our content was more relevant to Islamic teachings than his channel.
And if that's not worth a like and a comment, honestly, y'all, I just don't know what to do at this point. I don't know what to do at this point. You should be liking this video. You should be commenting
Right.
underneath it, sharing it to all your friends, because look at this, two dirty liberal atheist, feminist, oh my gosh, we are actually providing you scripture. We are the only ones here that have actually brought you the hikmah that you so desperately need.
Yes,
And
exactly. Yes.
it's just, look, if he doesn't want to do it, yeah, that's right. In case you guys didn't know, I will be Susanna by tomorrow, due to the fact that I have both dishes and laundry to clean. I might even have to, Armin, this is crazy, but I might even have to sweep my kitchen. It's been kind of muddy around my house lately, and there's some dirt. And I feel like at that point, I have just become a woman entirely. I'm sorry, it's just so dumb. I say more ridiculous things here, I think, than I do the entire rest of the week. And I say a lot of ridiculous things, you guys. But
one thing that I personally makes me upset about gender roles is that because I'm a boy, nobody showed me how to cook. Okay, and I wish somebody showed me how to cook. I think I missed out so much. There was a lot of part of my life where I wasn't with anybody that and I didn't know how to cook, and I could have had so much better food if I actually knew how to cook. And
yeah,
there's a missed opportunity. I think
I
sad.
totally agree. And I will say I will never forget how lucky I was growing up, because growing up, both my mother and father cooked on a regular basis, and both of them were good at it, and both of them had been taught by their parents, and they taught me. And I am forever grateful for that. And if I had spent my years growing up being so into this, oh, I can't cook because that's not manly, blah blah blah, I can't learn how to do laundry or sew or clean or any blah blah blah, like I would be a completely worthless man child, but instead I was given education, I was given skills, and I was given an opportunity to jump into this. And it's not to say that every single person out there wants to be a chef. Of course not. But don't restrict people from having that knowledge, whether it's boys, whether it's girls, men, women, non-binary, it doesn't matter. Just stop this freaking attitude that, oh, you're this, so therefore you have to do these things or you can't do those things. That's the thing that screws people over.
Right. Well, and they is saying learn it on YouTube. Well, I don't need it anymore. I needed it back then, and back then wasn't a thing on YouTube. This wasn't a thing back then on YouTube, so I did that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Susanna saying always fun to hang out with everyone. Oh, okay. Thank you, guys, and also please remember to like the stream. That actually we do need your likes, okay, and we also need your comments. When the stream is over, please spend a few seconds leaving a comment under the show. That really boosts the algorithm. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps the channel. So please do that. And suggest the channel to as many people as you can. Okay, just tell people that this is a good channel, guys. Like I don't think any channel makes learning about Islamic teachings as fun as we do here. Like I know there are many good channels, but I think I think we make it fun. So yeah. All right, guys. Until our next video.
Wait, hold up.
Oh shit! I need to have that. Okay.
Okay.
Until our next video. Assalamu alaikum.
Did I get it? Did I do it right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. All right, good.